Everyone.
Hello.
I'm not getting any audio, Ian, just so you know.
Well, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, neither am I.
Oh, you didn't hear? Well, the headphone thing might be off.
Yeah, all right, let's make sure that everyone can hear us.
Everyone
first.
can
Are you
hear
guys
us.
hearing
they can
us?
Hear us? Yeah, they can hear us. They
All right,
should
good.
be
I'm not.
able
Okay,
to.
there we
I
go.
see. Hello. Say hello, chat. How you doing? How's everybody doing on this definitely not inauspicious day? Everything's fine in the world.
It's nothing.
It's fine.
It's
all good.
It's
Bobby's not here right now. He's upstairs. He's
Nothing
on the
to see
phone
here.
Call. Nothing to see here.
From
actually.
And the movie Animal House.
Yeah.
Remain calm was like it was Kevin
Everyone
Bacon.
remain
Yeah.
calm. Yeah.
All right, let's intro it. So, welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. We'll do a little fun warm up, okay? Everything is fine. Then we'll do emergency meeting, autism announcement. Then
There's
also
an echo?
Yeah. There's an echo? Really?
Somebody said that?
Yes.
The
The
echo is awful?
echo is awful.
Oh, wait. You know what? Sorry. TikTok, maybe. Let me fix that. I don't know what that is about. I'll fix that in a second. And then Rapture. Apparently the Rapture was coming. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, it didn't happen though.
Well,
Is that again? It's coming again?
It was yesterday,
coming
right?
again. Yeah, it was
Oh,
yesterday.
it's hard to keep track,
so
but it
everybody
happens
should
so
be gone.
often.
Everybody should be
The end of the
gone.
world, whatever. Just like every second Tuesday.
Do you have videos
some
on
religious
that?
apocalypse is happening.
I do have videos of the
Okay, I
Rapture
won't
stuff.
say it then because I saw some crazy stuff,
Yeah,
man.
there's some fun stuff. Wait, is TikTok echoing?
I'm still waiting for the raptor to come, the velociraptor.
Oh.
That's,
Now, do you have a choice about being raptured? Like,
can you reject it? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, like if that were
Like
to
the
happen,
light shines down on you.
and
You're like, no,
no,
thanks,
I,
I'm good.
I want to live my life, you know.
But apparently, after the rapture, that's when all the bad stuff happens, right?
Yeah. Well, it's bad shit is happening, so maybe, you know.
No, I'm talking like demons coming, and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if
The end.
I would want to see a demon before I go to heaven, just to know what they look like. You know what I mean?
Is
If
that
I were
any
going to
better,
heaven. I don't know if
TikTok?
God would have me. If the Christian God existed, would He have me? I don't know.
Have you what?
I don't know.
That depends on what version
Hello.
of him you're talking about.
Yeah, it's true.
Would you want to be in a place where you're like, you have to forever worship him? Isn't that like Hitchens' whole thing? It's like, I don't
Yeah, it
want to
just
be in a
depends on
place
what they
where I
want
have
us to do up there.
Yeah. It's like I have to praise him forever. All right. I think TikTok, it should be okay. One person says it sounds great, and we will trust that one person, and everything else will be
All
fine.
right.
Two people
So all
said
good.
it sounds great.
Two people said. Well, I think YouTube is a little bit different than TikTok. So we're probably fine. Sorry, everybody. We were away this last weekend. Tell them about Kansas. Well, what did you
Yeah,
see
we were in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. We
Not
did
Kansas
did
anymore.
a private show plus, we record a private show and then we do some games with the audience, and then we did an extravaganza, and both shows were very good. They were solid.
Yeah, and everyone had a good time. We got great response from the audience, which is always great. Yeah, a lot of people commented to us that they were really happy that we came to Kansas specifically because it was more like it's really crazy there apparently.
Yeah.
Like with what's going on with the politics and all that stuff.
Plus,
Yeah,
I
and
think everybody forgets about the
And
Midwest,
somebody
right?
in the audience said, they appreciated like us giving him hope that we could still like have pleasant times and enjoy ourselves and stuff, right? Remember
We
that?
talk about rational, reasonable things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's super easy to kind of lose sight of that in, in the environment that all of us are living in. Even if you don't agree with anybody on, up here's politics or whatever, the bottom line is it's crazy for everybody. When you watch whatever side you're on, if you watch what the other side is saying, everybody thinks the world's going crazy right now in their different interpretations.
Yeah, I think because the core problem is really it's radicalization, it's polarization, and as we discussed with Andrea on our show a month ago or so, it's mainly affective polarization. So people just don't like each other, and there is no longer an assumption of good faith or that the other person is being reasonable. Yeah. It's just everything's an existential threat. Everything is a crisis. The other side is evil. They're trying to destroy America.
I mean, people are like on Facebook. People are legit.
Democracies can't function that way.
Like I had someone call me, adamantly say I'm a sociopath, which is weird. Like
You're a sociopath. Why?
Thanks, Mom.
Well, because I listed what a fascist government looks like.
Yeah.
Essentially, and she knew that I meant that this applies to Trump, so therefore I'm a sociopath.
Yeah.
They also didn't like the fact that I made that there. The fact is there are parallels between things that Trump has done and what Hitler has done, right? Because it's fascism. So they didn't like that either. So I have to be a sociopath in order to like even entertain those thoughts.
Right.
The thing I can't help myself from thinking is like, what will there be a marker where some people go, oh, that's crazy? I thought
if there is, we haven't seen it yet.
But like, you think the free speech thing would have ticked the box?
A couple of Republicans peeled off on that issue, right? But not a lot. And it was just like, oh, we're very concerned about this, But I mean, what else? He's doing extrajudicial killings. Yeah. And again, and we're going to talk about this today. So the idea is, okay, but they're just a couple of drug dealers, so who cares? It's like, yeah, that's where you start, right? You start with the people nobody cares about to establish that extrajudicial killings are okay, and that the president could define anything as a war, and he can assert his power to just kill people without a trial or anything. And then once that's established, because nobody really wanted to make a fight about it because it was just a couple of drug dealers, or whatever, then it's too late, right? Then he has asserted the power to do that.
Plus, isn't there no evidence that they are actually?
They provided no evidence of their guilt, right?
Right.
And there's also no reason why the normal activity of the Coast Guard interdicts them.
Right.
If there's drug on board, they take the drugs, they arrest the people, and they put them on trial. That's another way to stop drug dealers from getting to the U.S. You don't have to just blow up boats,
There's somebody sent in a quote actually, which kind of applies to this. Let me see if I can. Oh God.
Still no audio, by the way.
Jade, can you?
Yeah, I can take a look.
Take a look at that.
I'm swapping out with Bob.
Hello, people.
I'll say it loud.
I can hear you, but I'm not hearing it over. When we get to the videos, I won't be able to hear it.
All right, yeah. It says, the moment we no longer have a free press, anything can happen. What makes it possible for a totalitarian or any other dictatorship to rule is that people are not informed. How can you have an opinion if you're not informed? If everybody always lies to you, the consequence is not that you believe the lies, but rather that nobody believes anything any longer. This is because lies, by their very nature, have to be changed, and a lying government has to constantly rewrite its own history.
Yeah.
On the receiving end, you get not only one lie, a lie which could go on for the rest of your days, but you get a great number of lies, depending on how the political winds blow. And a people that no longer can believe anything cannot make up its mind. It is deprived not only of its capacity to act, but also of its capacity to think and to judge. And with such a people, you can then do what you please. So that was Hannah Arendt, There's a famous quote that she's like that is attributed to her, but it's not actually something she said. But that
But a lot of
quote
people
she
have
did.
made that point. You
Right.
can't have a democracy without freedom of the press, without information, right? It's like you can't have informed consent without information. And if the people in control, are able to rewrite history at will to assert whatever reality they want, then that is authoritarianism, right? That is always step one of authoritarianism. Get control of the narrative. Get control of the press.
Sorry, everyone. We're trying to mess with the audio while we're doing this. Anyway, go ahead. Keep going.
But again, so and this is what a lot of people are saying. That it's like these are the early stages where it's not that early now. It's like the late early or the early mid stage, whatever, where you have to pay attention. You have to draw a line in the sand. You can't just say, well, what is this? Each little, it's like an abusive relationship, right?
Yeah.
Every little step, baby step, gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And the farther it goes, the harder it is to stop, and the harder it is to reverse or claw back those rights.
The tough part is that a lot of these companies are going to have to take a hit, in order to not do what in order to not acquiesce to Trump. They're going to have to maybe this merger is not going to happen. Maybe we're going to lose a bunch of money. If he's going to retaliate against us, if we take a firm stand that's pro-democracy.
If you look
we got audio, but in my opinion, I mean, what's democracy worth to you? So your bottom line isn't quite as extravagant as you had anticipate, but you're helping democracy.
Yeah, but if you look at all of the recent examples of autocracy taking control of a democracy, it happened because people did nothing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
All it takes is for people to just not make a big stink about it. And the authoritarians just slowly take one power grab after another. No one is existential, but they just add up over time. Someone asked about the life on Mars question, which we talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not life, right? No. It's biosignatures that could potentially have abiotic sources.
Like what?
But they would have required
heat,
higher temperatures than were probably present there.
And acidic in some
so the life
scenario
is a plausible explanation for it, and there's no highly plausible abiotic source for it. It's not the same thing as saying it's definitely life.
Yeah, they didn't find a freaking inchworm,
Well, there's no active life. It's again biosignatures of past life.
Right.
So yeah, it's
a point of interest.
It's a baby step in that direction. And the thing is, unfortunately, we really would need to get those samples back to Earth to do further study to really settle it.
Which doesn't seem too likely anyway.
All right, before we get too deep into the politics stuff, because we're going to be talking about the autism announcement from a couple days ago, let's do some fun stuff. Just to clear the air, and then we'll get into the serious crazy. There were some things that people sent in specifically for Bob. They love Bob.
Bob.
Wait, why do they love Bob?
I love
Who
Bob.
knows? It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. They love.
I pay them.
Okay. This one is a cooking channel that specifically does horror-based cooking.
I love it. She looks great. Those are decent fake teeth.
Yeah. I don't know why it's loading, but it's it's just like paprika garlic chicken, but
I love this.
very funny.
Horror-based cooking.
So silly.
Oh my God, I just love this so much.
Yeah. It's a good take on typical cooking videos. All right, I'll skip over
Zombie cooking.
Hey, hello. It's basically that. Oh yeah, she made like a little Caesar chicken sandwich.
Cutlet, yeah.
Pretty good.
I like it.
Nice.
Do it.
I gotta say, this reminds me of a movie that
Can't eat it with the teeth.
Oh my God, did she really do eat it with the teeth?
That's
Wow.
crazy. That's
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna turn this into a movie recommendation. I just recently saw Evil Dead Rise, which is basically a redo of the first or second movie.
Wait, somebody actually shot for shot?
No.
They rewrote it.
It's a redo with the broad stroke. So it's in this case, it's not friends in a cabin in the woods. It's a family in a small high rise
For what
apartment.
movie?
Evil Dead Rise. This is a
Okay.
couple years old. I remember seeing the previews, and it didn't really attract me that much because it just seemed too, just like, it didn't have a supernatural element. It didn't seem to. I like the supernatural element of like the Evil Dead series. It's not just possessed serial killers type of thing. And I saw the movie. It was, I recommend it, highly recommend it. It was creepy as AF, right? Super creepy. And her smile reminded me of the smile of the mom in this movie. Super creepy. I mean, it's hard to creep me out. She was extremely creepy.
Oh, wow.
The gore was off the hook, over the top,
Well, it is, and
beautiful,
that's the franchise.
wonderful gore. And they had these fun homages, like nuanced homages to Evil Dead. Like if you're a fan and that character says something, you're like, holy crap, that's right out of, nobody says groovy, but they say other stuff that immediately makes you think of Evil Dead. And so I recommend it. It was creepy as hell, man. If you don't like a lot of gore and scary shit, don't watch this.
I don't think anyone could pull off groovy like Bruce Campbell anyway.
No, right. It was smart of them not to even attempt that. But there are other callbacks that were kind of like, oh yeah, it made me smile when I was watching it.
So
Didn't
it's
really
not
take me
kid
out.
friendly in any way.
No, oh my God, it's a hard R. And I'll just say 3 words: elevator of blood.
Oh Christ.
No more.
Elevator of
Elevator of Blood is out of The Shining.
Yeah, The
Yeah.
Shining.
Yeah, but you didn't show anybody in the elevator.
Yes,
did you?
Steve. Was
Two
there,
people.
Was there chunks of flesh in the elevator? No.
There was
I didn't think so.
there was like an 8 or 9 year old girl in this movie.
Wait, just stop. I don't want
She needs an Academy Award because
don't
her
talk about
acting
it.
was fantastic.
Don't ruin it.
I'm
I'm
done.
going to watch that.
I'm done.
Okay.
All right, so there's a couple other videos that were fun. Here's a little illusion somebody sent in. I don't know if
It's
you
an
can
illusion.
See that? Can you see that?
Oh, it's not people. It's just seats.
Yeah, it says, admit it, you thought you saw them too.
Absolutely, I love it.
It's a fun little
What does it say on the
pareidolia.
bottom there?
It says, you thought you saw them too. But yeah, it does like immediately you're like, people, and then you're like, oh, wait.
I still think it's people.
Yeah.
I thought for a second it was a bunch of
people.
people dressed up as Jawas.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I'm
Sure,
like,
Jay
no.
goes to the Star Wars angle.
Always. All right, let's see. And then there was this one, which might be a Who's That Noisy, so you'll get a little sneak peek, y'all. But let's just watch this thing real quick. Is it not playing? Oh.
We know what's going to happen.
So he has a samurai sword in there. He's electrified.
The sword is electrified.
Well, his whole body is.
Yeah, so he's like in a little Faraday
Okay, sweet,
cage
it
of a
didn't
suit.
little
catch on
chain
fire.
mail.
Hey,
Let's keep
Lee,
going.
is that you that just commented there?
What was that?
You can't say Jeff because you're out of sync.
The metal he's attached the arc because it's connected to ground.
Nice. So my question is, what would that do to a person?
Depends on how much juice is flowing.
Yeah,
there.
probably
Right.
hurt.
Somebody needs to tell me.
Ian, is the chat up to date?
It should be. Oh, did it not? I said tried sending gifts. Was
Yeah,
that
but
it?
I asked him if that is Lee, because I just talked to him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Highlander.
Highlander.
They're remake. They're doing a
Should be.
remake,
Okay.
aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
not
you,
a sequel,
sir.
but a remake.
Yeah, so Lee told me that
Might be for the best.
there's something to do with the algorithm when TikTok live streams get GIFs, it pushes them up in the algorithm and helps more people find them.
All right. Well, get on TikTok and send some gifts, y'all. You could put a cowboy hat on Steve.
You could even.
Lee, thank you, and Ian and I will, like I told you, we'll investigate to see how that works.
Yeah, you could even send GIFs if you want.
Yeah, I think
either
there's-
one.
Yeah, GIFs or gifts.
Or gifs.
Yeah, Lee is going to be a guest on the show. I think we have him scheduled for next
Right.
week.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love the name.
There's
The
a little
Blackness.
Little heart. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you so much. All right, one last fun one, and then we'll get to the actual serious.
Okay, yeah,
stuff.
the serious
Ooh,
stuff is
origami
going to be
thing.
serious.
Yeah, it was
Shoot a
serious
new
and
for
serious.
doofy poopy.
Okay, this is something. It was like, I don't know why
Chateau
they
Neuf
tagged us in this.
Shoot a
Yeah,
new
what,
for
do you? How do you think this is pronounced? It already said it, but it's like
Chateauneuf de Pape.
de Pepe. Okay.
De Pape.
Would you believe that there are videos on the internet that say
shoot a new for doofy poopy. Shoot a new for doofy, no poopy. Shooty new for doofy.
I actually don't
poop.
think that's a real thing.
That was awesome.
What's it, Christ? Did we just watch?
I don't know. That somebody tagged in this, and I was like, okay, that's not a Who's That Noisy. So
I mean, I talk like that to my dog. You know what I mean?
Shoot a new for doofa poop. All right, let's get to the real deal.
Thank you,
So-
Joseph. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you
And
very
thank you.
much.
I'm watching you
I'm watching you.
because we're not watching you.
So that's enough of the fun warm-up. Let's get to the emergency meeting autism announcement. So we have a ton of links for this one. So there's the main gist
State
of
the
it.
premise, please,
The
before we
main
get into
gist
this.
of it is that RFK, Trump mostly running it, funny enough, and Dr. Oz and a couple other people made an announcement about autism, that they are walking through the door talking about it. Also, I think, Steve, you wrote about it today on Science-Based Medicine.
Yes.
Too. So it was a whole presser. We can jump to the clips. Do you want to give like a little primer of the whole thing?
Yeah, so
like
like
a
if you
light one.
recall, in April, RFK Jr. said that he was going to find the cause of autism and then treat those exposures, which of course is giving away the game that he thinks autism is caused by exposure.
Oh, that's a
In
gift.
6 months, he was going to solve autism in 6 months. So now it's September. That's 6 months. So they had to come up with something.
Yeah.
It was kind of leaked a week or two ago that they were going to try to make this link between autism and Tylenol use, acetaminophen use in pregnancy. So I already talked about that, wrote about it. We talked about it on the show. So this is now the presser, the press conference about RFK solving autism.
Apparently. Yeah, so there's a bunch of quotes. Obviously, it's as with many of these things that we hear from Trump, it kind of rambles on in different places and stuff like that. But let's go over some of these quotes. So this is a claim: autism rates and communities without autism. And let me see if this jumps directly to it.
Because when you go from 20,000 to 10,000 and then you go to 12, there's something artificial. They're taking something. And by the way,
So what he's saying is like 1 out of 20,000 was a previous metric of how autism diagnosis, and now it's up to like 1 in 12.
Well,
is what he means.
what's the time frame?
Well, yeah, it was
The
like
1 in 20 was estimated when, and the 1 in 12 was estimated when.
1 in 12 is like recent. 1 in 20,000 was like decades ago.
I
so
think
let's see
I
what he
can
says.
say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any
go.
pills that have no autism.
That's bullshit.
That have no
That's
autism.
just not true.
Does that tell
Yeah,
you?
so we're talking about like the Amish. So just to deal with that, it is not true. The Amish people get vaccinated and they get autism.
Yeah.
So it's not, the idea that there are communities who don't ever get vaccinated and they're free of autism is simply not true. Now, the increasing autism rates, so this is all coming from RFK. I think he's probably just repeating the anti-vax tropes that RFK is feeding him, but also Trump has been anti-vaccine for a long time as well. So autism is not one very specific disease, right? With a clear way to diagnose it. It is the definition of autism has been evolving over the last 60 years, 80 years, and the definition has been broadening.
Yeah, I already read that.
Right? It's specifically like it was initially the criteria for diagnosis were extremely narrow, and then with each iteration of like the DSM, that's the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, it has broadened, right? And now it's autism spectrum disorder, right? It's not one specific thing. It's a lot of different things under one very broad umbrella. So and this has been clearly demonstrated, scientifically, and that people like in the early 1990s, that would have been diagnosed with developmental disorder not otherwise specified. Today, they get diagnosed with autism, right? So there is increased surveillance, broadening of the definition, diagnostic substitution, all of these things going on. And that appears to explain pretty much all of the increase in the diagnosis. If you do a cohort study where you say, we're going to apply the exact same diagnostic methodology to people from a cohort today and people from a cohort from the 1990s, you end up with the same rate, right? It is the same when you apply the same diagnostic methods. So
Right.
it isn't, has not been established that there is any actual increase. Now, we can't rule out that there isn't a small increase hiding in that data as well. So I can't tell you that there's a zero increase in the diagnosis. It's just not what they're saying are the numbers, and the speculative reasons why there might be a small increase are because of people are having kids older.
Yeah.
So there are two main hypotheses. One is that people are just waiting longer to have children, and that increases the spontaneous mutation rate in sperm and eggs. Mm-hmm. But the other one is called the alpha nerd hypothesis. That nerds are having more kids, they're more Darwinian successful, and that it is absolutely true that you're more likely to have a child with autism if you
Like
have
Star Wars?
certain characteristics. Actually, the profession that has the strongest association with having children who are autistic. What do you guys think?
Comic book store owners.
Like
far?
creatives. Like
I
some-
mean,
too much.
autism in the family?
I don't know.
Well,
No,
what
what
profession
profession?
though?
Oh, what
I
profession?
mean, there had to be a profession. There is no. I'm sure there's no link, but there
Oh,
had
it's
to
probably
be.
some profession where you're working alone a lot?
It's neurologists.
Oh,
Oh,
Um,
that's funny.
That's
Anyways,
okay.
yeah.
I don't think that's relevant in any way.
Well, the thing is, if you have traits, so autism, there's more than 100 genes that have been linked to autism spectrum disorder.
training
And
enthusiast.
Genes persist in a population because they either they're neutral and it's just genetic drift, or they provide some benefit, right? But if just like with the malaria and you get sickle cell anemia, right? The reason why the genes for sickle cell persist in parts of the world where malaria
Yeah, it's a virus.
exists is because it
right.
also gives you protection against malaria. And so,
Right.
genes that might give you good engineering skills or whatever, those same genes that provide certain types of neurological benefits or different trade-offs also increase the risk of having things that could be a disorder from a certain perspective,
Right,
right?
right.
And that's why, with the spectrum, and somebody mentioned Asperger's, and Asperger's was very briefly a diagnosis, which now would be considered part of the autism spectrum. But most people at that end of the spectrum don't necessarily have any disability, right? They just have, and that's where the concept of neurodiversity
Right.
takes place. Like, yeah, at this end, they're just neurodivergent. They're just a different than typical people. But as those traits get more and more extreme, then they could have a higher risk of having seizures or having language problems or whatever other things start to come in, even to the point where at the profound end of the spectrum they could be nonverbal, right?
Right.
But it's not all this. It's not all one thing. It's many, many, many things with certain commonalities that, for convenience and research reasons, we put under this very broad umbrella. But it's clearly mostly genetic.
And that nuance,
Yeah.
which is critical for science, by the way. Like, there is no generalizing in science. Like, the point is that nuance is utterly, completely gone in these three people. So let me.
None of them understand what's going on.
But let's talk about the three people who are up there.
Yeah.
Right? Dr. Oz, who is legitimately is a heart specialist.
He's the only one up there who's actually a doctor.
But he is also
Known
a
doctor.
completely known crank
But he's a heart surgeon, so he wouldn't necessarily know anything about neurology.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be expected to, and we can't assume that he knows it, number one. Number two, like he He is completely full of shit. He bends over for money. He's been
Yeah.
doing it for decades.
Not a credible source given his
RFK
history.
has zero qualification on anything. Just name anything he's qualified for. I'd be shocked to hear if he's got a qualification literally in eating soup at this point. And then Trump, of course, zero qualification to be commenting on this other than parroting what somebody else has said. So we have these three people now.
I mean, what
that-
can he comment on? I mean, bankruptcy? I mean, what can he really comment on?
But the point is, the three people that are delivering this message, it's clear who it's coming from. That's where this is going.
They have
okay?
no business
Exactly.
pontificating on a nuanced scientific medical issue.
Yeah, that's why I said nuance, because there is no nuance in their heads. Now, the thing I want to ask you some questions, Steve.
Yeah.
Number one, it doesn't stop here. Where do you think this is going?
Well, what I think it's going is that RFK is going to do everything he can to torpedo the vaccine industry in this country.
Like all vaccines?
Yeah, he's coming for your vaccines, and he's doing everything. He is if let me put it this way: if his goal were to take away all vaccines, he has been doing a good job, and he is on that pathway to doing that. He's doing everything you would think he would be doing if that were his goal. We don't know how far he's going to get, and and whatever, but that is the goal.
Yeah. Olivia, I don't agree with that statement.
They
That
do make-
just because he's a doctor, he'd be able to, to a certain degree, he would understand the jargon and this and that. But like when you get into expertise, and this is the really
A
important part of
surgeon
this,
doesn't understand autism,
Right.
Unless they specifically looked into it.
But it's it's the idea that it's almost dangerous to think that a doctor, a doctor with a specialty, is smart enough to read papers and information written by another specialty because
Well, it's at a certain level. I mean, they're better able to understand than the general population.
exactly,
Right.
But they're not an expert.
not the nuanced stuff.
But
though.
what it boils down to, like many of us, what he should have is a healthy respect for consensus from the
Yes.
experts, which
Yes,
is
which he
utterly
doesn't.
lacking.
Which he doesn't.
All right, let's get to some more because it keeps going. I'm
One
gonna-
second.
Yeah.
One second.
Yeah, we're
So-
just scratching the surface.
There's just
Yeah.
so much to say, and there's a lot going on in the chat, and I don't want to ignore it. Somebody said Buttered Noodle said it's just crazy to me that he can't be removed after saying he wouldn't do this at the original Senate hearing. That's correct, but that's if the most of the people in the Senate actually want to do something about it. Because right now the majority of the Senate is not doing anything.
Well, also, I don't think they can remove him. Doesn't the president have the power to remove him, and that's it? I don't think they can.
No, I think
impeach.
I think
Can they impeach him?
I think they can impeach him.
Somebody look
Okay.
it up. I'm
Somebody
pretty
look it up.
sure that they can impeach
I thought
him.
we looked it up and we were like, oh, they give advisement on whether or not they accept his nomination.
Somebody in
and
the chat can
then-
do it for us real quick.
Yeah, somebody else do it. We're gonna keep listening to this. So
Yeah.
he keeps going on, but there's actually I want to jump ahead maybe to there's a question from the reporters, quote unquote. I say that somewhat disparagingly, but let's see what this person has to say because it relates to this.
Just for a second, I recently saw a man from Minnesota, an Amish man from Minnesota, on a podcast, and the host asked him what the rates were for like ADHD and autism, and he had no idea about ADHD, didn't know that it existed, and certainly didn't know of any cases. What are they
It
doing?
doesn't exist with the Amish community, and they don't take all of this junk. It doesn't exist.
So just to for some people who may not know what the guy was talking about, if you want some background on what podcaster asked this Amish individual, that would be none other than Theo Vaughn, who we talked about before, who's not necessarily a science podcaster. He's just kind of a dumbass comedian. Although he's funny, but he's a schmuck.
But let's set the premise here. He pulls in a single Amish person that doesn't have any expertise in anything to
Right.
legitimately comment on it.
Correct.
Okay.
And this now the reporter is using this as somehow,
Here's
an
our
important
evidence,
marker.
guys.
to
Well,
then ask the
this is
president.
the right-wing media ecosystem feeding on itself.
Right.
This has been going on for a long time.
So we can watch a little bit of this. Just
ADD in
to
the Amish
get,
community?
he's asking, do they have
I don't
ADD?
even. Do you know
One.
what is ADD? I'm not even quite sure.
Oh, wow. ADD, it's like, let me think.
You got to be shitting me. That's the
You ever had that
fucking
feeling
guy
like when somebody's tickling
that
you or whatever,
This asshole's
kinda?
talking
Yeah.
to get information
like,
about whether
ears
or not.
I mean, look, to be fair to Theo, he's just having a fun discussion. He's just like, he's an idiot. He's like, has a dumb podcast thing, and it's funny, and he's a
can give
comedian.
that. That's cool. I get that. But
The transference from this to asking
to the U.S. president, to the
is
president of
crazy.
the United States.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is their information source, people.
Right.
This is the information source that they're using,
Right.
by the way.
And let me jump towards the end. He just kind of goes like, I don't
like
know,
the
I've never
passenger
heard
seat
about it.
or-
I think
You know,
it gets
he's,
a little
talking
bit
about,
testy for
like,
some.
what does ADD, and which is not even what they're talking about in this announcement. But
Or-
you'll see at
Then
the
you must
end.
not have it, brother.
Here we
Yeah.
go.
The Amish do experience ADD, but reported rates are noticeably lower than in the general population, and diagnosis practices may differ significantly due to cultural and lifestyle factors.
Reported by who?
Wow, that's
I mean,
pretty fascinating.
They do have it. So even in
Yeah,
the
but actually,
podcast,
he did read the answer.
he read the answer.
It's like,
Right.
yeah, they do have autism, they do have ADHD. The diagnostic rates are lower because their diagnostic patterns and infrastructure is completely different,
Right.
and their lifestyle is completely different. Go back to 1850 and ask somebody, do you know what ADD is? And they won't know either. That doesn't mean it didn't exist.
Right.
Whatever,
Oh my
150
God,
years ago,
exactly.
it's ridiculous.
So it is like media literacy is starting to be really
Yes,
bad.
that's a
too.
media literacy failure.
But just think
right.
about the chain of events here. All right?
We saw it happen. We don't
Yeah.
have to think
No, I just want to go through it because it's like it's important to really let this sink in. So this guy, whatever you want to call him,
Theo
has
Mark.
a podcast,
comedian.
has a young kid who's Amish on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
is getting information from that guy, then does a rando search online, and that information then is brought to the
It's
president.
fed to the president, who
but
then uses it
through
to
the press,
to
I guess.
claim-
So someone in the press. Who
Yeah,
was the
press
person that said?
asked
Yeah.
the question.
Okay, so someone in the press took that and said, that's valuable, that's legitimate enough to bring it up, right? And then they brought it to the president. And then it confirms
It was a setup
the
question.
bullshit.
It
I
was a
know,
setup
but it's
question.
the whole point, though. It's
Yeah.
like you can't even fucking say, well, at least it was a credible source. It wasn't. It's not. It's transparent. It's not a credible source in any way. And this is all just a complete circle jerk up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think
yeah.
that's the point. That's why he
That's what
did
I said.
also skip CNN because he's like, "You're fake news. I'm not going to take a question from you." So he's obviously catering to the people who will ask him the right questions. All right, let's jump on the Tylenol
Yeah,
pregnancy fever, claims and
Tylenol
Tylenol.
during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. So taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during
Who's they?
pregnancy unless medically
The people behind them.
necessary. That's, for instance, in cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it. I guess there's that. It's a small number of cases, I think. But
yeah.
if you can't tough it out, if you can't do it, that's what you're going to have to do. You'll take.
Pause right there for a second.
Yeah.
Who owns Tylenol?
Yeah, what are they doing?
Yeah, I just want
what
to
are
follow
they
this
doing?
They
line.
put out a statement that said that there's no evidence to support
Can
it.
they sue
I don't know.
about this misinformation? I
They
wonder.
could try.
I don't know.
It's Kenvue, which was the Johnson & Johnson
Yes, but
spun off.
they peeled it. They spun it off.
Yeah.
Can you?
I mean, this is
theory.
a major, I mean, I would think that there would be recourse because imagine what's this doing to their stock or
Yeah, I
their
don't know.
sales. It's got to be somewhat devastating or.
So, I mean, we could talk at this point about
Yeah, let's do
the link between Tylenol use and autism. I wrote about this again on Science-Based Medicine. We talked about it on the show, but the quick recap is, so again, this is preliminary evidence, and with some studies showing that there may be a statistical link, not causation, just a link, and other studies showing that there isn't. But these questions are always tricky to answer. Right? You can't give pregnant women medication to see if they get a negative side effect, right? So you can't do a definitive double-blind placebo-controlled study. It's just not unethical. So we have to use observational studies in order to infer if there is a link, and if there is a link, what is the cause and effect. And this takes time for these studies to be done, for people to try to figure out what the confounding factors are, to control for those, to interpret the data properly. And there's always these things out there. There are so many preliminary studies looking at possible risks, possible associations. You can't live your life based upon all of this preliminary information. You couldn't do anything. Everything will kill you if that is your threshold. That some study somewhere showed that there might be a link. And communicating to the public when you're in this period of, well, we have some preliminary conflicting, unclear information is always tricky. But with the Tylenol autism question, we do have some better evidence, right? We have some more recent studies and systematic reviews which show pretty convincingly that there probably is not any causal link between acetaminophen, Tylenol use, and autism risk. And there are two main good reasons why. So what the systematic review showed was two things. One, there's no dose-response curve, right? Meaning if you increase the dose, you should increase the effect, whether it's a good effect or a bad effect, right? There needs to be a dose-response curve. If there isn't one, that seriously calls into question that there's a causal relationship there. So no dose response. And the second one is that if you control for the far and away most likely confounding factor, which is the genetics of the mother, right? Because it is, again, primarily a genetic disorder.
Right.
The effect, the correlation vanishes. There's no correlation when you control for, when you do what's called a sibling analysis, right? When you control for the genetics, there's no link, which means it's not the Tylenol, it's the genetics, right? It is the parentage that is doing it. So that's the reason why most health institutions, the World Health Organization, other professional organizations, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and blah blah. The professionals that have weighed in have concluded there is no established link here. There's no established cause and effect. There's no reason to alter our baseline recommendations. Now, those baseline recommendations, basically for all pregnant women for all drugs, is don't use anything unless you have to. Use it for the shortest amount of time and in the lowest possible dose. This is just the precautionary principle because we can't ethically study things in pregnant women to see how risky they are for the pregnancy. We have to infer it from whatever data we can have, mostly observational data. And sometimes, like if things have been out for decades and we have lots of observational data, we could be relatively sure that there's no big risk there.
Right.
So for this case, the evidence shows that there's no reason to alter this basic recommendation. Now, I don't know if we want to hear him say some more. He goes on and say some more stupid shit. We can have him do that, and then we can continue.
Tylenol,
playing it?
it'll be very sparingly. Can be something that's very dangerous to the woman's health. In other words, a fever that's very, very dangerous, and ideally a doctor's decision, because I think you shouldn't take it. And you shouldn't take it during the entire pregnancy. They may tell you that toward the end of the pregnancy, you shouldn't take it during the entire. And you shouldn't give the child a Tylenol every time he's born and he goes and has a shot. You shouldn't give a Tylenol to that child. All pregnant women should talk to their doctors for more information about limiting the use of this medication while pregnant. So ideally, you don't take it at all. But if you can't tough it out, or if there's a problem, you're going to end up doing it.
Like the tough it out line. I mean, aside from blaming women,
it's blaming the mother.
Right.
Absolutely. First of all, they make it sound like you're a wimp if you cave and take Tylenol. But there are real, and he says later, there's no, why would you take it? There's no reason not to take it.
Exactly.
But not treating pain and fever during pregnancy can have its own risks. Sometimes the pain could be a migraine, right? And migraines can be associated with stroke risk and can be associated with nausea and vomiting, which are not benign things during a pregnancy, or just anorexia, like just not the inability really to eat. And also it's just psychologically traumatizing if you have severe pain that's hard to control. And high fevers, of course, can also be their own risks as well. So, just scaring, pressuring pregnant women and saying it's your fault if you cave and you can't tough it out, and just you have to just grin and bear it, is not good medical advice. It just isn't. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's getting it all wrong. The only thing in there, which is like boilerplate, which I could agree with, is yes, talk to your doctor. In fact, ignore everything that he says.
I like that.
And just talk to your doctor and let them guide you through, which you should be doing anyway. Women should be talking to their doctor before taking any medication, including over-the-counter medication. That's pretty. So essentially, at the end of the day, what he's saying, he's surrounded by misinformation, scare tactics, misinformation is just the same stuff we're already doing. It's nothing new.
I mean, how many things are going to cause autism now? So now it's Tylenol,
5G.
Which is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
And
5G, wasn't the...
Yeah, well, he said
I
that
guess
at
it's the
one
vaccine,
point. And it's vaccines, and then what? Like when the numbers don't go down, which they won't, and we might not even ever hear the real numbers again during this administration, by the way, right? Because they're stripping out all of that information.
Well, there's a lot of numbers we're not going to hear for a few years.
All right, so there was actually, let me jump ahead because it kind of relates, although this guy is talking about the perfunctory nature of science, but he does go into fever is a natural way to cure infection. And it might be interesting to talk about that, like what science there
a
even
natural
is there.
way to cure
hang on.
infection.
Well, this is a complicated
question. Right.
Sweet Christ.
This is complicated.
It's a lot. So let's see what he says first.
And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless.
Wait, hold on, pause.
Okay.
Who's this chuckle fuck?
I forget what his name is. I'll have to look it up. I could go back to when he introduces him.
Okay, I want to know who he is.
Yeah, he's another guy. I don't remember. I'll find it. If chat knows, you could say.
We cannot wait any longer.
What?
And honestly, there's been this perfunctory, reactionary, mindless practice in medicine. I learned it in medical school and residency. Just treat all fevers. Low-grade fevers, treat them with acetaminophen. Why? What are we doing? A study out of Hopkins actually showed that treating a fever can prolong the duration of illness in a young kid. Maybe that's because a fever is a body's natural way of ridding an infection. When my wife was pregnant and delivered our son a few months ago, they pushed her to take acetaminophen for a low-grade fever. She said no, and then they looked to me and I said, absolutely new.
So let's maybe talk to the naturalness of a fever. Destroying of it.
So I mean, listen. This has been an ongoing debate for decades and decades. Like, why does an infection cause a fever? And is the fever part of the defense mechanism against fighting off an organism, or is it an epiphenomenon? And what are the risks versus benefits of having a fever versus treating a fever? So the evidence is not clear. This is why it remains controversial. But there is good reason. It is a reasonable conclusion to say that you don't have to treat low-grade fevers, and maybe it's better if you don't treat low-grade fevers. But that's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about treating higher grade fevers where you start, the higher the fever goes, the more the risks of that fever, first of all,
of course,
the more uncomfortable it becomes, and also the more risks of the fever itself. So remember that your immune system is a double-edged sword, and when it's fighting off an infection, again, evolutionarily, like if there's collateral damage, if you injure your own body in order to survive an infection, evolution will take that deal every time, right?
Yeah.
So, because we evolved without things like antibiotics.
Yep.
The fever is basically like when your body is infected with something that's potentially life-threatening.
Do whatever we can.
It's like whatever we can. Inflammation through the roof, fever, whatever happens is do it. And if you come out the other end damaged but alive because your body fought off the infection, right? That's better than
Can you
dying.
still reproduce?
Right,
yes,
but
okay.
that's not to say though that there is real intelligence behind evolution.
No, that's the statistical trade-off.
Right. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, right, it's just about do you survive? Do you pass on your genes? Whatever.
Exactly.
So that doesn't mean that it's all okay, that we should just let nature take its course, because nature is brutal.
Good point,
and it doesn't
man.
give a shit about you. It doesn't care if you're happy or fulfilled or you're enjoying your life. It doesn't care if you're in pain or whatever.
And guess what? Nature ends up killing all of us.
It's
So far.
the whole it's appeal to nature nonsense is not a good way to go. If, however, like we're treating the infection, you're not going to die from it, then it could make sense to like also treat the inflammation and the fever, because you don't need it. You're treating the infection. You're going to be fine. You might as well be comfortable or prevent any collateral damage from your body's sort of ill-guided attempt at like more aggressively treating the infection than it has to. But there's a lot of nuance in there. There's a lot of this is when how do all these things balance out in each individual person with each individual infection, given 100 biological variables? That's why it's hard to really study, and to apply it in make broad statements like you should always treat a fever, you should never treat a fever. At the end of the day, it's like, well, it depends. Sometimes if it's a low-grade fever and whatever, you could let it run its course. That's fine. Just stay hydrated. Do other things to make yourself feel comfortable. But there are lots of times when you definitely should treat a fever.
Yep.
It's also a lot depends on the patient. If you have epilepsy, you better damn well treat that fever, because some people have seizures when they have a low-grade fever. So anyway, you have to know all of these things to really make any kind of statement about it.
Is there any chance that Tylenol is going to go away?
I don't think this is about Tylenol. I don't, you know what I mean? This is at the end of the day, this is not about Tylenol. That was just a convenient target. That was just something that they had. Again, I really think that his flunkies just scraped the internet for anything to do with autism, said we need to blame something on autism, and we need to find something that will treat autism, so we could put it in a September press release to show that we're fighting autism. But the other part of that is, what this is all leading up to is banning vaccines, right? Is reducing vaccines, making them less accessible. And at the end of the day, this is mostly about vaccines.
Yeah.
Right? But this is sort of laying the stage for that.
Yeah, I know. It's all the brick and mortar underneath.
I mean, Tylenol could totally just rebrand and sell a new.
Well, it's
product,
acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen,
no,
right?
Because that's
right,
the generic.
certainly. But they could also say paracetamol.
But that's
right?
just the
use
same
that.
drug by a different name.
But people might not recognize it. You know what I mean? Like,
unless they
could
get
you
the
sneak it
FDA
in?
to do something
That's true.
about it.
All right, and actually that brings up the point of the people that are in the room. So is U.S. Health and Human Services, or RFK, we know that. U.S. Food and Drug Administration Commissioner, that was Dr. Marty Makary.
Is it the guy that was talking
That
now?
was the guy who was talking.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then U.S. National Institutes of Health Director Jay Bhattacharya. We've talked about him before, Dr. Jay.
Also a loser.
Yeah. U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz. Another loser guy, fucking guy. So, all right, let's get through some more of these things. There's some, annoying quotes that he said in terms of, which go to the vaccine discussion about what his goal is. Oh, did it mute? Oh, I muted it. Here we go.
I'll say that they will maybe say at a little bit later date, but I think when you go for the shot, you do it over a 5-time period. Take it over 5 times or 4 times, but you take it in smaller doses and you spread it out over a period of years. And they pump so much stuff into those beautiful little babies. It's a disgrace. I don't see it. I think it's very bad.
Here we go, folks.
Pumping, it looks like they're pumping into a horse. You have a little child, little fragile child, and you get a vat of 80 different vaccines, I guess, 80 different blends, and they pump it in. All
right, so there's that claim about...
It's all propaganda.
Yeah.
That's all straight up anti-vaccine tropes. Too many, too soon. It's too much liquid, he says at one point. Yeah. Pumping it into these beautiful little fragile babies like a horse thing, whatever. It's just such crap. Yeah. So first of all, the vaccine schedule is not random or arbitrary, right? It is evidence-based. This is the result of experts over year after year reviewing all the evidence, debating the strengths and the weaknesses, the benefits, the risks and the harms, all that, and deciding on what is the optimal schedule. Trump is going to like overturn that because he feels like it's too many. He just has this gut feeling like, oh, it's too many, when he has no idea what he's talking about. If you delay the vaccines, that leaves children susceptible to infectious illness for longer. You spread it out over years. That's years of being vulnerable to those illnesses. That has real harm. And the vaccines have, very, very, very little harm. It's almost none. They're extremely safe. So you have this, tiny risk, which like basically 1,000,000 to 1 against anything serious happening from a vaccine, versus a very real risk of leaving children vulnerable to serious infectious illness.
And that leads, though, to if a bunch of kids start getting the measles, that means a bunch of other people are going to get the measles. It's not just kids. It affects everybody.
Right.
And I want to point out here, this is a really important thing to argue if you're going to talk to someone about this topic. Vaccines are the number one, by orders of magnitude, it's the number one most effective medical intervention of all time.
Yes.
The quality of life that it has
The
saved,
risk versus benefit is the best. The cost effectiveness is the best. It is the most effective medical intervention that we've ever come up with.
And then, and this is the result of voting for Trump and Trump picking RFK to make these important health decisions for everybody that lives in this country.
Yeah.
And again, I keep thinking, what is this leading up to? Where is this going to go? We are not even at the end of year one. Where is RFK? What's he going to do 3 months from now, a year from now? I mean, are we going to get to the point where there are no more vaccines? Is that really what's going to happen?
That's the goal.
Ian, you got to scroll the comments to the bottom. It's not scrolling.
Why isn't it doing it automatically, by the way?
It doesn't do that sometimes.
What happened?
It doesn't. Maybe. I don't know.
It used to do it.
I know. Let's see if it happens in the next one. Somebody comment something in the chat. Did it move?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's that. So there's also a mercury. He says that in passing, but so you can kind of see what he's, getting his information
all the anti-vaccine bullshit.
Yeah, like thimerosal kind of stuff. Or
I
whatever.
also, and we've already done this, we want no mercury in the vaccine. We want no aluminum in the vaccine. The MMR, I think, should be taken separately. This is based on what I feel. The mumps, measles, and all the three should be taken separately. And
third one, couldn't think
it seems to be that when you mix them, there could be a problem. So there's no downside in taking them separately. In fact, they think it's better, so let it be separate.
I mean, it's like every goddamn thing he says is loaded with bullshit.
It's all wrong.
Welcome to Trump.
I mean, it's remarkable that this is happening and there is little to nothing that can be done. Okay, I said this a week after Trump got elected when I completely melted down about RFK. I'll say it again, and I won't yell so you can understand what I'm saying.
Gently.
Children are going to die. Mm-hmm. People that are going to become sick, and some families that have kids that will die. It's going to happen. We are literally
we're having the worst measles outbreak in years already.
But this country is a tractor trailer truck with no brakes going down a hill right now. We are going to see measurable numbers of death from this talk right here, from this sentiment right here, and it's going to happen. And what can we do? This is the thing. Everybody is asking us, what can be done? Well, we're doing what we can do. I mean, the only thing that we could do is help educate people or give you guys information so you could take that out and hopefully, by an order of magnitude, reach more people. But even still,
I know people people need to be active. They need to protest. They need to be vocal.
Exactly.
And when the time comes, you need to get off your ass and vote.
Yeah.
Right?
And go to the
2024
protests.
was basically, we lost because people didn't freaking vote.
33% of the eligible voters decided who was going to be president.
Right.
33%. 38,
but
something around there.
The mis and disinformation, guys, is so unbelievably
This
deep
is
now.
straight up anti-vaccine nonsense, all coming from RFK. I agree with the Canadian Space Advocate. This is, as I said, this is Trump just repeating what RFK has fed him. It's anti-vaccine propaganda from beginning to end, and it's just complete nonsense. We've already removed thimerosal from the childhood vaccine schedule in 2001.
Right, didn't
24 years ago. And it made
the needle.
zero change. The anti-vaxxers predicted autism rates are going to plummet once we do this, and it never happened.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder why. Maybe because mercury has nothing to do with autism. Then they said, well, it's the mercury in the coal from the coal-fired plants, whatever. It's like it's complete nonsense.
But I thought they loved coal-fired plants.
Move the goalpost, right? When
we'll just make up new shit. It's not the aluminum. It's been studied to death. Aluminum's there to make the vaccines more effective. Again, it's not just there for shits and giggles, right? And that means your overall dose is lower. The other thing about the too many, too soon thing, the only thing that really matters is how much antigen is in the vaccine, right? In terms of like how many vaccines you're getting.
Yeah.
And we're getting better at formulating the vaccines. They're more effective, which means the amount of antigens that children are getting exposed to today is much less than it was decades ago.
Forget it. You'd never even that information is like literally going to hit these people's ears and die right there. It's those pieces of information and that level of nuance that is, unfortunately, Steve, it's irrelevant. It's just irrelevant.
Well,
doesn't matter.
Maybe vaccines have a memory of thimerosal. Is that maybe the problem? Anyway, okay, homeopathic joke. Sorry. All right, let's get on to some more stuff. So there, he goes into Hep B.
Yeah.
Also, all this information is good. Like when we're, advocating for new people who are running for office, like they got to know this shit too. Like they got to be on this side of history
separately. And then
so you gotta
hepatitis B
here
is sexually transmitted.
Oh, this is a good.
There's no reason to give a baby that's almost just born hepatitis B.
Almost just born.
So I would say wait till the baby is 12 years old.
So what's wrong with that? What other possible way can you get hepatitis B?
There's other ways to get it.
When you're a baby.
You can get it from your parent.
There you go.
You can get it from blood.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, again, like he it's arrogance to think that he knows more than the collective medical community. And it's not just one, it's around the world, right? This is like being replicated dozens of times by every developed nation in the world, or by the World Health Organization, et cetera. Right? And so they decide when to give it, because you always want to give it to prevent any possible exposure. Right? That's the best way, especially with these infectious diseases, is to make sure you're beating the potential exposure. If you try to cut it close, then a lot of people fall through the cracks. So anyway, he's just second guessing the vaccine schedule with no information, just based on anti-vaccine propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, so he's just getting all that. All right, Tylenol bad happen. Let's see, there's another link. And there's also, he talks about Cuba, which we could jump to because that's an interesting one. But let's do Tylenol bad happen.
But with Tylenol, don't take it. Don't take it.
Whoops.
And if you can't live, if your fever is so bad, you have to take one, because there's no alternative to that. Sadly, first question, what can you take instead? It's actually, there's not an alternative to that. And as you know, other of the medicines are absolutely proven bad. I mean, they've been proven bad with the aspirins and the Advils and
look
others,
to the side again.
And they've been proven bad. So I'd like to ask.
So has aspirin and the Advils been proven bad?
Yes, for pregnant women.
For pregnant women.
They are contraindicated in pregnancy.
Right.
They cause essentially the changes that happen when you're born to your cardiac circulation can happen prematurely if you take any of that class of medication. That's why that's why the Tylenol is like the only safe alternative in pregnancy.
Right.
And for pain, it's either that or narcotics is your other choice, which we use sometimes because they're actually are safe in pregnancy, but they're not great to use overall because of the addictive potential. But for a short time, when you have no other choice, sometimes that's the only thing we have.
So didn't the Republicans in the Senate vote to not release the Epstein's files?
Parts of the world.
They blocked it. Yeah.
Okay, so the entire party decided, even though Trump campaigned on releasing them, they decided to block the release of these files.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I mean, where where is like the tiny little bit of realization by people who voted for Trump with that fact? Do they not know that the Senate did that?
Here's a.
So they just don't care.
Here's a thing from Tylenol, which is it's a joke.
It's
not
from
real.
Tylenol?
No, it's a joke. It's a Tylenol. Release a statement. Nice try. Release the Epstein files. It's a joke. But anyway. All right, let's get to Cuba, because so he makes another proclaimance about Cuba and other countries
I will say
that
there are
don't
parts of the
have
world
this. Whoops.
that don't take Tylenol. I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one.
Son of a bitch.
And there are other parts of the world where they don't have Tylenol, where they don't have autism. That tells you a lot. And I want to say it right now.
Son of a bitch, Dr. Oz, standing to his left, who actually knows
that
better.
that's bullshit.
And when he was in front of the Senate and they grilled him, he literally does know better, because he admitted to quite a bit in front of the Senate.
Yeah.
And he's just standing there with like dollar signs in his freaking eyes.
Yeah. But I mean, even Trump's like, I don't know if it's true or not. It's a rumor, but here you go. And doesn't that something, It's that's just how his mind works.
Ian, I sent you an email.
Oh, okay. Hold on. There's also there about Cuba. So I pulled some stuff together. There's the claim, U.S. President claimed that there's a rumor. I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they do not have Tylenol because they do not have money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism background. After months-long investigation, the Trump administration announced the contentious conclusion that paracetamol during pregnancy is linked to higher risk of autism, blah, 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 blah. So there's limited contentious evidence to support Trump's assertion of significantly higher levels in the autism in the U.S. than Cuba, and no means to link the prevalence of either country. And I believe they have paracetamol in Cuba.
Paracetamol is
It's
like the
main
European version of acetaminophen.
Right. Access to, he has no direct access to the drug marketed as Tylenol, which was what he said, but they do have acetaminophen and paracetamol.
It's like,
so they do have it.
It's
So
just,
they have
it's just like
they just don't have Tylenol.
Anything
technically,
that he
whatever.
says that you look into, right? It's
sorry.
all
I had this
so unbelievably ginned up bullshit.
Yeah. One of the most
And again, you
commonly-
can't just compare two countries' autism rates, because the diagnostic patterns are so profoundly different. You have to do a study where you're controlling for diagnostic patterns, or you're applying the same diagnostic criteria. Yeah, that's about 7 levels too deep for his sophistication.
Let me see. I think there was something. Oh, it was the same thing.
Yeah, people are saying that's
Cuba.
Trump's MO. I hear that people say this all the time.
So Cuba had an autism rate of 83.3 per 10,000 children in 2023, according to data from Autism Development Disabilities Monitoring Network. The U.S. has a rate of 80.9. So it's like pretty similar. I mean, I assume. I don't know what the difference is between, but like you said, you can't necessarily compare country because of diagnostics or whatever. But so anyway, let's move on to all cause of autism and the failures of science. So this is, I don't know who's speaking at this point.
Agency effort to identify all causes of autism, including toxic and pharmaceutical exposures. At President Trump's urging, NIH, FDA, CDC, and CMS are turning over every stone to identify the etiology of the autism epidemic and how patients and parents can prevent and reverse this alarming trend. We have broken down the traditional silos that have long separated these agencies, and we have fast-tracked research and guidance. Historically, NIH has focused almost solely on politically safe and entirely fruitless research about the genetic drivers of autism. And that would be like studying the genetic drivers of lung cancer without looking at cigarettes. And that's what NIH has been doing for 20 years. As a result, we don't have an answer to this critical question, despite the cataclysmic impact of the epidemic on our nation's children. We are now replacing the institutional culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams are currently testing multiple hypotheses with no area off limits. We promise transparency as we uncover the potential causes and treatments, and we will notify the public regularly of our progress. Today, we are announcing two.
He just goes on and on, but like there were some things in there, like does the NIH not study, any
Oh, it's all
cause,
nonsense. So you say,
mental cause.
studying the genetics of autism is fruitless. We've identified over 100 genes linked to autism. We have a much better understanding of autism than we did 30, 40 years ago, even 10 years ago. Actually, this has been a tremendous scientific success story. We have gone a long way into understanding autism phenomenologically, neurologically, and genetically. And we have absolutely studied environmental associations and potential environmental triggers, because genes always interact with the environment. And again, no one's saying there's zero environmental interaction. That it has been studied. But he's assuming that because science gave an answer he doesn't like, it must be corrupt. And therefore, we're going to correct that and do evidence-based, science, which means it's going to find the answer I do want, which is look only for environmental causes. It's bullshit. This is Lysenkoism. This is just completely yoking science to a political, ideological agenda. That's what this is doing. This is going to waste so much money. At best, it'll waste money and time and resources. At worst, it's going to create fake science that then is going to be pushed onto the public.
Yeah, it'll be institutionalized fake science, and it's going to kill people. All of this is going to kill people.
And gee, I wonder if it's going to find that there's a link between vaccines and autism.
Yeah, and again, we will not hear the numbers. If they say the numbers are going down, right? How is anyone going to be able to know the truth anymore? Because there isn't.
They're controlling the numbers.
They're controlling all of that information now.
Well, the numbers do go down when people die. You don't have autism anymore if you're dead, I guess.
No, it's more about the vaccine thing.
No, well, that's true. Yeah.
So, in the end, guys, I'm trying to remain calm when you're faced with this stuff. It's hard. I am super angry, of course. But I'm the Hulk. I'm always angry. I am. I'm always angry. From the moment that he won this election, I have been disturbed beyond ways that I can describe with words.
Yeah. All right, let's jump to.
I'm not done.
I know.
But we are now replacing the
because I want to talk about it can't just all be doom and gloom. We have to.
Oh, it is.
No, I know, but we have to talk about
from their side,
what Steve was saying. The only things that we can do, if you're an American, right? The only things that we can do at this point, of course, is vote, right?
You could write your congressman. It sounds like a cliche.
I was going to give a list.
But it actually is very important to do that, especially in writing.
Most of them still know how to use landlines.
Right. If they start getting a flood of feedback from their constituents saying, I'm unhappy about this.
Yeah. Or go to their office. You're allowed to go to their office often. So.
Or even shoot them an email. That's the easiest thing to do.
We can no longer sit around and wait for other people to do it.
Yeah,
we all have to.
How about this? Know who your representative is.
That's
Most people don't even know that. Find out who your representative is and send them an email saying how unhappy you are about this. So you probably know who your senators are because they're statewide. Same thing. Express how unhappy you are about this to your senators. And that's the least you could do. And then get active, and when the time comes, freaking vote.
I mean, if we can get Jimmy Kimmel back on the air, surely we can get a few people to give us vaccines.
I do think that was largely because people
canceling.
We're pushing back, and we're canceling their Disney Plus.
They hit them where it hurt.
All that matters is the money, guys. That's the driver here.
Yeah, so, anyway. All right, so let's get on to this one. Let's see what he says in this little...
A culture of politicized science and corruption with evidence-based medicine. NIH research teams are currently...
So actually, why don't we... Because people sometimes ask, what's the difference between science-based medicine and evidence-based medicine?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a meaningful difference?
Prior plausibility.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Prior plausibility.
So, read science-based medicine if you want to know what the difference is. But the quickie version is that, EBM is not just an idea, it's a codified specific thing, right? Meaning that, there are organizations dedicated to evidence-based medicine that follow very specific procedures. There's the Cochrane Collaboration, which is the primary EBM organization, and they do systematic reviews based upon very specific criteria. So the idea behind evidence-based medicine is that clinical evidence should be determining which therapies, which medical interventions work and don't work, and which are the right ones to use. And it shouldn't be, we shouldn't be relying on plausibility, right? So we shouldn't say, oh, I'm going to do this because it makes sense. You have to do it because there's actual direct evidence that it's beneficial. Now, the problem with that is that by factoring out it makes sense, right, plausibility, it cut both ways. Because I think the people who conceptualized EBM naively assumed that, right, the difference was between treatments that made sense and had evidence and treatments that made sense and didn't have evidence. And so, right, does that make sense?
Yes.
And so if that's your only choice, then they say, well, we want the evidence-based one, right? We want evidence-based medicine. But when they said, therefore, it's plausible, we're going to factor that out, they didn't realize that they were opening the door for treatments that don't make sense, that are not plausible. And in fact, the statistics of how we determine whether or not something probably works assumes a prior probability. And if you take that away, like, you can't even know how to interpret the evidence unless you're doing it in the context of prior probability. Like, statistically, from a mathematical point of view, p-values are meaningless in the absence of prior plausibility. And so with science-based medicine, we're saying, listen, you got to look at all the science. You got to look at what all the science tells us about prior probability. You got to look at it from multiple different statistical angles. You can't rely just on p-values and just on clinical evidence. You got to look at the whole picture.
So it's
got to be based on all of science, not just not what we call the frequentist approach, which is just looking at p-values.
So they were bit in the ass by false dichotomy.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to...
And now there's a lot of pushback against what, a lot of the standard procedures of EBM for the reasons that I stated, but it needs to be more.
All right, let's jump to this one. It's 40
There's
to 70
who
months.
have children with autism
sorry.
believe that 70% of mothers has areas of taboo. One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines. Some 40 to 70% of mothers who have children with autism believe that their child was injured by a vaccine. President Trump believes that we should be listening to these mothers instead of gaslighting and marginalizing them like prior administrations. Some of our friends like to say that we should believe all women. Some of these same people have been silencing and demonizing these mothers for 3 decades.
Oh, really?
It's funny how they use woke language to like make their point.
I mean, but
anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to listen to what mothers think the source of the autism was. Like, we're just going to listen.
Well, it's worse than that.
Yeah.
They've been promoting this misinformation for decades, trying to convince people that there's a problem with vaccines. Then they cite that effect as evidence that this is something we need to look at.
Right.
Right? It's like you lie about somebody, destroy their reputation, then you say, well, I hear bad things about this guy. Hey, but you're the one who trashed his reputation in the first place.
Right. And then they blame women still.
Yes.
And then and you'll see later, which we might not get to, but they bring up some people who have kids with autism, and it's like, obviously they're just using them as props. It's like really terrible. All right, let's see. Autism may be preventable. Oh, the Boston birth cohort. Maybe that's something we can talk about.
Preventable. For an epidemiologist, it's hard to watch. Kids get frustrated, they get angry, they can be crying because they want to speak and they can't speak. It's hard to watch, and it may be entirely preventable. For an epidemiologist, that child is an expanding statistic, but for a child, it can be brutal to have autism. Today, the FDA is taking action to update the label on acetaminophen and sending a letter to all U.S. doctors letting them know about the risks in pregnancy. We now have data we cannot ignore. There's a very large study, the Boston birth cohort, with researchers that have, from Johns Hopkins, my former institution, and Boston University, found quote-unquote consistent associations between acetaminophen in pregnancy and autism. And the Nurses' Health Study with researchers from Yale, Columbia, and Harvard looking at 9,000 kids found that acetaminophen use in pregnancy was associated with neurodevelopmental disorders. And
So what does associated mean?
Yeah, it's a correlation. It's not causation because it's an observational study. It's not a controlled clinical trial. But he's cherry picking. He's cherry picking the studies that there are, again, more recent, better, bigger studies who actually controlled for more variables found there's no association.
Doesn't matter.
And there's no dose response. He's cherry picking. He's just, and again, why of all the things that are, all the unfolding many-year research questions in medicine, why just pick this one out and say, oh, suddenly we're going to like change the labeling for Tylenol and we're going to send letters to all doctors? There's nothing that happened that justifies this. Nothing. In fact, the evidence is moving in the opposite direction. This is propaganda, pure and simple.
Now that might be true, but look at this image and tell me, now clearly this cat
I love
caused this damage.
I love it.
No, this is correlation is not causation. Somebody else did one with Tylenol on there. Which is very funny. But yeah, okay, that's essentially what they're arguing. All right, so let's get to
Ian,
some...
post that picture I sent you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, there was another one that Bob sent, which
Kinda
is a
like
little
this one.
A throwback to what we were
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
A secret word.
Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen.
Acetaminophen. See, he mispronounced acetaminophen.
That's a good one too. All right, so oh yeah, perfunctory. We already did that. Okay, so let's get to leucovorin.
Luca Brasi?
Luca Brasi.
Luca Brasi.
Yeah,
Someone asked about
better.
Tylenol on the liver. Tylenol is toxic to the liver, but it's a dose effect. So if taken as directed and you have a healthy liver at baseline, it's perfectly safe. We don't give it to patients who have liver disease or would have a reason to be more susceptible to the liver effect. A lot of medications, by the way, affect the liver. You know, most medications, either you're metabolized by the liver or the kidney, and they're going to either put stress on your liver or stress on your kidney. And we always take that into consideration when we're prescribing medications. The reason why Tylenol is a problem is because it's available over the counter and it's in a lot of products. So some people overdose on it. They take more than they're supposed to take, or they take more than they realize they're taking because they don't realize that acetaminophen is in Tylenol and their nighttime medication and their cold remedy and blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize they're doubling, tripling up on the dose. And they take it for months, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem, is that people are taking it self-directed because it's over the counter and they're just taking too much of it. Used as directed,
Susan Grimm.
right, in patients who don't have liver disease, the risks are very low.
I did it. All right, let's watch what he has to say here. So this is the leucovorin.
I'm also here to announce good news.
Good news,
Today,
everyone.
the FDA is filing a Federal Register notice to change the label on an exciting treatment called prescription leucovorin so that it can be available to children with autism. Autism may also be due to a autoimmune reaction to a folate receptor on the brain, not allowing that important vitamin to get into the brain cells. It's a fairly established, mature pathway. Again, we have a duty to let doctors and the public know we are going to change the label to make it available. Hundreds of thousands of kids, in my opinion, will benefit. One study found that with kids with autism and chronic folate deficiency, 2/3 of kids with autism symptoms had improvement, and some marked improvement. Wow. Mr. President, you told us to do...
All right, whatever. He brings up Dr. Oz in a second, but what you want to talk about leucovorin just for
Yeah, I mean, so, it's not really a treatment for autism, because that's a spectrum, and it's a lot of different things. It's a treatment for a specific, problem with folate metabolism, some which can cause symptoms of autism or may contribute to it. So... Again, they're just again. The evidence is preliminary. Like, why would he pick this out of all things to say suddenly we're going to add the labeling for this? There was no new evidence or no new study that was produced, right? So this is just cherry-picked propaganda bullshit, right? And again, I'm not saying it doesn't work or it shouldn't have been relabeled, but again, the timing is highly suspicious. It clearly isn't random. Again, it wasn't based on any new evidence. The evidence is preliminary. Yeah. And again, it's really not for autism per se, but for a folate metabolism issue. So anyway, this is just more propaganda.
All right, let's jump to when Dr. Oz talks about that real quick. Here we go.
The FDA, based on NIH research, is approving prescription leucovorin for treatment of autistic children. Now, if you're following the script, there should be two questions that you have. Two questions that should come to your mind.
Does
The first
Dr. Oz
is,
own
how
stock
will
in a company that sells it? Yes, he does.
We'll get to
and
that.
parents get access to the treatment. I'll tell you how. Over half of American children are covered by Medicaid and CHIP, government health insurance. Over half.
Which we're trying to take away from them.
Right.
And therefore, because they're covered in Medicaid and CHIP, upon this label change by Marty, state Medicaid programs in partnership with CMS will cover prescription leucovorin around the country. It's yours, but you have to go to a doctor to get a prescription because they know your child, they know you, and they know the medication. States will also have tools to monitor its use and ensure appropriate utilization. That's important for a bunch of reasons because we want the right kids getting the right prescription medications. We believe private insurance companies will rapidly follow our lead if they have not already done so. And again, to make sure that this is safe and effective treatment, you need a physician to prescribe the medication.
So, I mean, do you think insurance companies will follow the lead,
I
given
don't
that
know.
they do?
We'll see.
They do some pseudoscience, like with
Yeah.
acupuncture, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of at the behest of the government, sort of.
Sometimes it's mandated by like state
Right.
legislatures and.
So it could be that they do that. All right. So you actually brought up a point about Oz's ties.
Thanks,
Guess who
KJ.
sells leucovorin? Folinic
Thank
acid.
you, KJ.
So Dr. Oz's company now it's technically not his company, but he is a
Stakeholder.
He is a stakeholder. He's also the advisorship role. So he said this in let me see if I can bring it up. He pledged to whatever. I'll just read the quote because I can't find it. On February 2025, during the process of nomination to oversee Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Oz stated he would leave his advisor role at iHerb LLC and divest his interest in the related partnership. What's the likelihood he has actually done that? Who knows? I don't know if they follow up on that. Even though he did say it. This is like the actual like folinic acid, what they sell on here.
So is that something that lots of companies sell?
Probably. I mean,
It's an old drug.
Yeah, it's
it's out of patent.
So in a way, it could be like you wrote on Science-Based Medicine. It could be just a coincidence that he owns.
Yeah.
He's advisor to a company that sells bullshit, and he's also selling bullshit essentially.
Yeah.
But it could be something interesting. So there were some New York Times archive. Let me see. That he has stock in it as well, just some to back up the claim. He pledges to sell them. I don't know if there's any information about whether or not he has. He's a sizable investor in the supplement company, according to filings released on Wednesday by the Office of Government Ethics. So there's a little more background on that. Dr. Andrea Love also came out and said something about that. I think she says essentially the same thing. If you didn't know, Mehmet Oz has a financial stake in the company iHerb, which sells folinic acid supplements. Folinic acid is leucovorin. The lies about Tylenol, autism, and this treatment are all part of the grift, which is, not unreasonable. Can't say for certain, I guess, right? But, it is something. Psychiatric folinic acid. I forget what this link was. Let me see if because there are other uses for folinic acid, and there's another video I think of Marquet. Okay, here we go. So this is from the American Psychiatric Association. It is essential that the administration. Oh, sorry, I have it on small. It is essential that the administration prioritizes evidence-based support for individuals on the autism spectrum and invest in long-term comprehensive research about the disorder. Vaccines do not cause autism. Claims of any such association have been repeatedly discredited in peer-reviewed studies. Autism is a complex disorder, and it is incorrect to imply that a handful of studies have established causation. A strong base of evidence shows that acetaminophen, when taken as directed, is safe for use during pregnancy. Any decisions around a course of treatment should be determined by a patient and their doctor. Leucovorin, folinic acid, has not been recommended treatment for autism. It will require many more years of research before we know if leucovorin is an appropriate treatment for individuals with autism. Autism spectrum disorders exist on a spectrum of neurodiversity. The country must focus its resources on expanding access to care and to building evidence base for future treatment. So, I mean, pretty well-rounded statement from them, obviously. And all the same things that we've been echoing here. All right, so let's get to some more just quotes from Trump in this. Don't let them pump your I think we already saw that, but he said it over and over. It was
and it's so
obviously
important to me to see the doctor 4 times or 5 times for a vaccine. Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life going into the delicate little body of a baby, even if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You just break it up into, I would say 5, but let's say 4 visits to the doctor instead of 1.
I would say. Hope so.
Based on
And certain things I think you should do. We've already taken out and are in the process of taking out mercury and aluminum now. You know what mercury is. You know what aluminum is. Who the hell wants that pumped into a body? And there were
all right, yeah, whatever. Then he says the too much liquid
if
one.
If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol. When you have your baby, don't give your baby Tylenol at all, unless it's absolutely necessary. Don't do it. Break up your visits to the doctors. Break them up. Do it in 5 if you can. Now, it's inconvenient. It's inconvenient. Oh, you got to have to go back another year later. You're going to go back each year for 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. Just break it up. Break it up, because it's too much liquid. Too many different things are going into that baby at too big a number. The size of this thing, when you look at it, it's like 80 different vaccines and beyond vaccines, and 80.
He's just making it up.
What do you think these people are just like playing music in their head, or like just trying to ignore whatever the fuck?
Someone in the chat brought up a good point. This is the guy that thought we should inject bleach into our bodies.
Yeah. Oh, right. That guy. Yeah. Or
good
light.
Instincts.
Didn't
good
he say
instincts.
light too? Like do a
light in there.
I hear skin bronzer is toxic.
Yeah. Like he'll study that ad nauseum.
I said this before. I said this on Facebook, I think, but it's a funny observation I made. RFK's head always looks like it's about to explode.
Yeah, it is a blood-filled tick latched onto his body. All right, let's see. There's another one. What this one is about.
Look at it.
First, I'm curious as you look at the trend lines.
Yeah.
How much of this is the causation of acetaminophen, and how much is sort of better diagnosis, doctors, researchers having a better understanding of what is on the autism spectrum?
Do you want to do that? Sure, go ahead, bro.
That's one of the canards that has been promoted by the industry for many years, that it's changed diagnostic criteria, better recognition. But there's been study after study done of that completely debunks that.
That's nonsense.
One of them by the Mind Institute at UC Davis, University of California. But also it's just common sense, because you're only seeing this in people who are under 50 years of age. If it were better recognition or diagnosis, you'd see it in 70-year-old men.
Which you do.
I've
when
never
you study
seen this happening in people my age. I've never seen a case of full-blown autism, and that means profound autism. I want to be very
like him using full-blown.
So his anecdotal experience is crazy. Oh my God!
Yeah, he's just lying.
God damn.
So like, what could it possibly be if like people 70 years of age or over are not getting diagnosed? Like, what would that just be like? Maybe they don't go to the doctor for this specifically, or it's just not common to diagnose somebody at 70?
It's not common to screen people
for autism, right,
who are in their 60s, 70s, or whatever for autism,
right?
And whatever. I mean, he's completely mischaracterizing the evidence, which is what he does. He cherry picks, he misinterprets, he has no idea what he's talking about. He's a buffoon, right? He's not a scientist, he's not a doctor, he does not know how to interpret the evidence. He has shown that over and over again. What he's saying is transparently wrong, and the scientific community disagrees with him because he's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he used full blown does kind of give, I don't know, to me it gives away the game that they just want to say a different word that you're not supposed to say anymore.
Yeah.
And just call that, children with autism that. Which it's just nutty. Whatever. That's like an aside. All right, so let's see. The college. Oh, right. This was just another thing. Let's see. College of Obstetricians put a statement saying that acetaminophen say. Yeah, I think.
Moms and dads across America, many of whom. Thank you, Mr. President. I was hoping that you could clear up confusion for moms and dads across America, many of whom voted for you. There's a statement that was put out by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and in their statement, they write, acetaminophen remains a safe, trusted option for pain relief during pregnancy, and that's at odds with what you said and with what many of the experts say. How do you clear up this confusion?
That's the establishment. They're funded by lots of different groups. And you know what? Maybe they're right. I don't think they are, because I don't think the facts bear it out at all. They're fighting for something that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be fighting for. But here's the thing. There's no downside to doing, other than a mother will have to, as I say, tough it out a little bit. There's no downside to doing this. It's not like, oh.
Anyway, so, I mean, that's kind of rehashing what we've already been through, but like...
You just can't get dumber than this. Like, you really can't.
It's really painful.
Or beyond parody. More dangerous than dumb.
All right, so actually, I think those were the most of it. Everything else is just like, them talking to the
it's more of the same.
press. And
all right, good. I'm glad that we got through that, because it was literally like razor blades on my forearm, just having to watch that again.
Yeah, it was painful.
So the takeaways, right?
Yeah, let's
so
recap.
This is the new baseline. It's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
This propaganda and these lies and the effect that the downstream effect on people and on the ability for people to get vaccinated, it's all going to happen, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Trump is supporting RFK. The other thing is, like, as some people are starting to push back against RFK, even some Republican senators, the question was, how long is Trump going to stand by him?
Yeah.
He's standing by him 100% right now.
So far, yeah.
More so leaning by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
but in the end, though, we just have to educate ourselves, make sure we know what's going on, try to help the people around us, be positive. Don't try to give them the real information in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that we can do for now.
Yeah.
We already said.
I mean, we will get through this. And other countries have gotten through it. We've been worse dictatorships, authoritarian, periods than this. Of course, we haven't hit rock bottom yet. That's the problem. We don't know how bad it's going to get. But we can't just stand on the sidelines, and assume that everything's going to work out. We're way past that.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. What time is it? Okay, it's 1:44. So we have some other stuff we could get into. I don't think there's anything in this doc that I did. There was anything else? No, that's good. We covered everything in that. Hooray. Hooray for that. Okay, so I did say we had some rapture talk. I don't know if you guys saw any of that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so what happened over the last couple days, actually, I mean, it's been going on for a while, but people were posting about the upcoming rapture.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can.
Wasn't that yesterday?
It was technically yesterday, so I don't know if anybody's seen a. I didn't even say apparently. I said technically. I don't know if anybody's seen a change in traffic as of late, but so there was a couple accounts that have kind of captured these videos, because a lot of the people who have previously posted them have since deleted their responses, or they're looking forward to meeting Jesus. So let's see what they have to say about this.
There's no more time. You need to repent now. I don't want you to be left behind. And guys, maybe I'm not telling this right, but this was so emotional, this dream. It was so real. I had been praying last night for the Lord to reveal to me anything that, Lord, is it soon? Will that great and terrible day of the Lord happen? Will the tribulation and the rapture happen at the same time? And, I had a restless sleep, no dreams, no anything until this morning. So in this dream, it's a beautiful day, at least it looked like a beautiful day, and I'm just about to sit down to join her, and I look out on the water and I see black swirling clouds rolling in like towards us. And I just completely lost it. I started screaming to everybody. I'm like, Jesus is coming. And nobody was listening to me. Some were making fun of me. I'm like, everyone needs to repent now. He's coming. And I like dropped to my knees and my eyes were closed. I'm like, please. Like I was begging them. I'm like, if you don't know Jesus, repent now. He is coming. And when I opened my eyes, they had all fled. They had all left the room except for my best friend who was still smiling like there was nothing wrong. And I'm begging her. I mean, I am bawling my eyes out. And I was begging her to get on her knees and repent. And I said, the words that I said was, there's no more time. You need to repent now. I don't want you to be left behind.
Okay. I don't like seeing
it's
someone
sad.
in pain.
No, this one is like very sad. I wanted to play it first.
I mean, I get it if you really buy into it, and if you believe like these unbelievable claims, right? Like you're going to believe that that's it, the world's over, and Jesus is coming, and everyone's gone. Sure, these are the reactions. Like I saw a video of a woman who was scared that she was going to go to a place that her kids aren't going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And it pisses me off that those people have to experience that. However, they're adults and they're responsible for their beliefs. Number one. Number two, and I can't help but think, what are they doing today?
Mm-hmm.
What are they saying right now? Because yesterday was supposed to be it.
They stopped it from happening because of their faith.
Yeah, but where are the videos about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the
Probably-
day after effect, this happens a lot, and usually people double down on their, not everybody, but a lot of times people will double down. They come up with some excuse, or they stopped it from happening, or we misread the signs, but now it's really going to be next week or whatever. Rarely do they go, maybe my entire approach to faith and knowledge is wrong.
No, that's not going to happen.
That doesn't happen.
No, but I don't know, but something's got to happen. You know, like if you're that down into this and you're freaking out about your friends and like do it now because you know it's happening tomorrow. And now today is the day after, and then the day after the day after, and then the weekend comes. Are we going to go see that movie, guys? Like, what happens? What happens?
Well, so there are some things. So here, this individual, this is a little more fun. That one was like sad because it's like the abusive nature of like these cults.
Wait, before you do this, I
go
got
ahead.
this another thing occurred to me. Does anybody? I wonder if any of them quit their jobs.
That's exactly
right. Like, just did that because what would you do? Like, if you think the rapture is happening, for real, like you're not going back to work.
Yeah.
Like your money is meaningless. Like, wouldn't you, like, if you knew it was coming a month in advance, wouldn't you quit your job then and go on a vacation or something?
I like the people that said, "Give me some money and I will watch your dogs after the rapture."
Thank you for saying it because
All right.
I had it already.
Do it. Cue it up. Let's
Thank
see
you.
it.
Here we go. So
Trump's got to get in on this.
This is after the rapture pet care. The Lord himself shall depart.
Is that a good or bad picture?
The rapture will be a joyous time for Christians, but when we're gone, what will happen to our pets? Oh no! The cat's so sad seeing them fly. Sad dog. Not the parrot. They left them locked up too. We'll help you have peace of mind about your.
How much? What are they charging?
We'll feed them all to the demons.
Atheists are delicious.
Maybe that's what happens.
Somebody said the music is loud again.
Sorry.
All right, but what do they charge? I have to know.
After the rapture, Pet Care is building a network of non-Christian pet takers and a massive database of Christian-owned pets. As the rapture comes, our caretakers will be ready to find, rescue, and care for your pets. It's funny that heathens are so nice that they want to take care of your pets.
All right, please, someone in the chat,
still too loud?
look this up and
Is it
tell me
better?
what they're charging, if it's real.
I wonder if they need to say to these people, we make sure that we are hiring bad people so that they're not raptured.
You could just say atheists. They don't have to be bad
There you
people,
go. You're
know?
right. Atheists would be better.
You can unmute. You can unmute.
Well,
you
they
can
said
unmute.
they said non-Christians. So I guess all non-Christians are bad people. I guess.
Oh, okay.
Unmute. You can unmute now. No, sorry. I don't know why I was so.
I mean, I would guess like maybe they'll be like, okay, so
sound like Vivaldi?
because let's really get to it, right? Let's sink in on this before we hear the number. How much money would it take to feed this animal for the rest of its life? Right? Yeah, what are you going to charge? 150? That's like a month of food, maybe. You know what I mean?
Maybe you just tell them leave your credit card, leave it. It's like the banks will still work for a little while.
But it's a fine line. How much is too much to ask for? Whatever you get will be a bonus. At some
$20
point,
a month.
At some point,
It might
say, oh,
be a
that's too
joke
much."
too. Like, who knows if this? Let's
could be.
register your pets. You can fill out a form. We send out 2 or 3 emails a year. Type of pet. Additional pets. Okay, so
Let's sign up and let's see what the kind of emails they send.
All right, we could do that. Volunteer. You could volunteer as a post-rapture pet caretaker.
But again, what are they
get the
charging? Because like, if
gear,
this is real,
keeps her
a
sexy.
reasonable amount of money would be like, look, it's going to be like 15 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? To feed your dog and give them medical help for the rest of their lives. If you bought a puppy, it's even more. Right?
Yeah.
They don't list prices, it says.
Doesn't list prices.
Yeah, if you have a pet cow, it's like, what do you think I do? Secure fields for these cows?
Some comment. So the only difference between you and the original joke is $60. So it could be $60. I don't know if that's
the
relative to
non-refundable deposit.
Non-refundable deposit.
That's a good way to do it.
There you go.
Yeah, but deposit on what? Because how are they going to get money after the fact? None of it makes sense.
It doesn't matter. Jay, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
need to make sense.
You're never going to get anything. So
I guess I'm too smart. I don't know.
Jay, get the non-refundable deposit. That's all you're going to get.
So this lady has some rapture tips for us. Let's just see what
I want the rapture wrap.
The rapture wrap. Ooh, chicken. Okay.
Rapture trip tips. I recommend you go out and buy a couple fresh packs of undies to wear for the next month. Throw
Fresh
all
undies.
the old underwear away. Imagine after you've been harpazoed, your clothes float back down. You don't want someone's last impression of you to be your old underwear.
Oh,
Paul should have said, may your whole body, soul, and spirit and underwear be without blemish until the coming of the Lord. Rapture trip tip.
So
Tip.
clean undies. Harpazoed it means like to snatch or something. It's like the word that all the rapture people use when they're getting like sucked up or whatever.
Is she selling the underwear or,
I don't know. Yeah, maybe she works for MeUndies. Sponsor, link in bio.
God damn.
This is why I don't wear underwear.
This is just crazy overload today. Like I got to go have a milkshake or something.
All right.
After
We
this.
can end this. We can end this segment. I mean, she just goes on and on about some other crazy stuff. I mean, it was a fun thing that happened over the last couple days. I mean, maybe not for them, but it was kind of fun and bizarre. Here, the last one I'll leave is this is kind of a fun pseudoscience debunker, but he's also a pseudoscientist. So he's self-debunking.
Okay.
So this is, you guys have probably heard about like playing music at different frequencies, that it's actually better for you or whatever. 432 is typical.
Ian, hold on.
So
Somebody
he-
said that woman is a comedian.
Is she a comedian?
Yeah. Which
And
is
not
fine.
a grifter? Oh, that's fun.
But we live in a world where you just don't know.
See, this was part of why I wanted to bring it up, because it was like, is this Poe or no? Like, 'cause, yeah, this one's clearly a Poe. But like some of the ones where they're crying, like the first lady we saw, like that was pretty convincing. I don't know.
I would
Could
think
be.
that's real, yeah.
Could be. All right, let's get to this one where he debunks pseudoscience.
Here's another example of somebody saying that they have 432 hertz music, and I'm going to be putting it next to my software that allows me to be able to test the integrity of this music. So I'm going to play it real quick. And it sounds pretty, but it's not what they're saying it is. Because when I turn on this 432 hertz, I'm going to slide it up. You can already tell that's disharmonious with the music. So I did my own testing. I'm going to turn that off real quick. What I actually believe it to be is around 316 hertz,
Okay.
which is not even a solfeggio. So let's play this again. You already see it's in the proper scale, the tuning. This is actually the frequency that's underlying the whole track. It's the key. This has 45 million views on it. And these are all people that think they're getting a 432 hertz frequency. This is a specific case where I made a track that is 396 hertz, and I can show you that it is what that is. And I'll pull this frequency up, 396, right here. Change this to 396 so you can see it's right on the dot.
So can I ask what the point of this is?
So he's calling out other, pseudoscientists or whatever that believe in the solfeggio, which is solfeggio or like this healing frequency thing. You know, it's like it tries to chart the chakras to some frequencies or whatever the fuck. But he's calling out other creators that are not giving like the true solfeggio.
It's not really 420. It's only 396.
It's like 396, yeah, or whatever. And then, but he makes the true stuff.
If I were to put this at 432 and say it's 432 music, this is what it'd sound like.
Okay, I like the first one because it was bassier.
It sounds completely off. And if we wanted a second opinion, I have a 396. I don't know if you can see that, but it's the same tone I played earlier. And if I play it, putting it into the microphone, there you go.
Cool that it does that resonant frequency, personally. But yeah, I mean, anyway, so it's a funny like debunker of the pseudoscience that he believes, but like debunking it from a, he wants to be the
right. The one
he has the
right.
real bullshit.
He's got the real bullshit.
I got the real stuff.
So I thought that was a fun little thing that somebody sent us in. If you see any more of those fun things,
yeah, send them our way.
It's fun. Send it our way. I mean, yeah, the frequency stuff is so silly, but it's. Aside from the fact, even the first one, I feel like it wasn't even that out. It was just a different pitch, which is going to be a different frequency. It didn't sound like it was like disharmonious or whatever the fuck. It just wasn't the root note. Anyway, I don't believe him. He's not wearing a lab coat. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you so much. We will get that back.
Well, that, look, there's something about that.
Funny thing about recording engineers used to wear lab coats in like the 50s. Hold on, let me see. Engineer.
They used to?
Lab coat. Yeah, it was like, because like, they're engineers. It was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, they're engineers.
So like, here's like a record. Oh, you can't see it. This is Abbey Rose. I think they're just joking. But like, here's like some old technology. They're wearing lab coats and stuff. Old school.
Yep.
We don't wear lab coats no more.
I'd like to, though. I mean, I always wanted a reason to wear one.
Why not? Fuck it.
Could I wear a lab coat as like a skeptician?
Hey,
go around just randomly measure shit and,
Skeptanic.
All right, Steve, we're going to cut this over to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have a good.
We got a couple
I'll see you
TikToks,
tonight.
so we're going to do quick.
Two
You saw
TikTok.
my news item, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Wait, I got to say this. I got to say this.
Gotta say it. Here we go.
Crazy.
Eat some meatballs.
Oh.
No, people don't like that. Some people don't like it.
If you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, if you like that sort of crazy thing.
Eat some soy meatballs if you're not.
One thing that we can easily do, guys, to make the world a better place, as cliche as that sounds, is just be nice to people that you know.
Be
Do something
excellent to each other.
Exactly, but do something. Just think of someone right now and be like, I'm going to help my mom clean the dishes tonight. I'm going to tell my husband why I love him. I'm going to draw a bath for my wife. Anything. Just do something to let someone know that you care or whatever. A phone call. Could be anything, but those things, those acts of kindness matter. Yeah. They matter, Steve. All right, get out of here. You bother me.
Get away from me, kid. You bother
All
me.
you guys wear lab coats at the next live show. Maybe the Nauticon, we could do a lab coat skit or something. All right, sit in the middle. Bye, Steve. Bye-bye. See y'all later. And just push the mics to the side if you can.
Oi.
Oi. Be nice to No, not them. Not them. Like, be nice. There's that meme where it like spells out "be nice to everyone," not you. There's like, you can put the neo-Nazis in the middle of that one. Wait, can you push the other mic to the side?
This one or
no,
this one?
that one. Yeah. Wait, wrong movie. You're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. You're cool. All right, so we're gonna do. Oh crap! I gotta line this up. Do this quick fast. I gotta go pick up my daughter from school. All right, let's see. With that, Steve is there. TikTok Creomad, put him right there. Okay.
Yep.
That should be good. Oh wait, hold on. Crap. A little bit off. There we go. All right, you have a preference? Doesn't matter.
Either one.
Either one. Oh,
It's fine.
Let me let me reset everything up. So I gotta everything. All right. Boop. Let's see what this one is. Is it muted? Yes, of course it is. What's that? Stand by.
A guy fell off a ladder. I think it was somewhere in the UK, and a 15-centimeter nail went through his boot. Writhing in pain. They had to put him on morphine just to get him to calm down. Brought him into the X-ray. They X-rayed the boot. Went right between his toes.
No shit.
Went right between his toes. Didn't puncture his foot at all. They needed to sedate this guy because of the pain he was the pain that he was perceiving.
Because of what he thought happened.
Because of what he thought happened.
That is bananas.
Oh yeah, well documented. So here, what do we have so far? We have.
The problem with this story is that it is not well documented. It's not documented pretty much at all. There was a report published in the BMJ in 1995, I believe, and it consisted of a picture, the X-ray of the spike going through the boot, and a caption. That was it. No case report, no details, no story to go along with it. That's it. Everything else, the rest of that story appears to be apocryphal and have taken on a life of its own. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't happen, but it isn't well documented. And probably the details have shifted over the years, been exaggerated. This is the nail boot guy, right? This is a meme, it's a story, and people share it as like this case that proves that pain is all in your head. It's very likely that the details are not as were being reported there. You know, even if the spike went between the toes and didn't penetrate the foot, you could still imagine that that caused some local trauma. And that could be very painful. I mean, anyone who's gotten a paper cut knows how a cut that's even hard to see could be extremely painful. So he probably did have some abrasions, maybe even a cut, just not a penetrating wound, given the X-ray, which I looked at. But that could still have been very painful. We also don't know how much pain this person was experiencing. Was he really in agony? Did he really need sedation? Or was he just really anxious because he thought he put a spike through his foot? That kind of a extreme emotional reaction in that situation would not be unusual. So don't believe the story as it's being told. It's not well documented. The details have almost certainly shifted over time to make the story more punchy, or basically to make this point. Now, having said all that, it is true that pain can be very subjective. Pain is perceived in your brain, and it is susceptible to mood and emotions and perception and distraction and lots of things. And so, yes, of course, there is a mental aspect to the perception of pain, how emotionally bothersome it is to you, etc. That doesn't mean it's all in your head, or it could be completely made up pain, or that you can completely make pain go away with mental exercises alone. So don't believe the story as it's being told. It's not well documented.
Alrighty, let me see. Phantom pain.
How do you pronounce the name of the next one? It's Mont Saint Michel.
Let me see.
Michel.
I would think so. Yeah, Mont Saint Michel.
Mont Saint Michel.
Let me see. Let's look it up.
Phantom limb pain is different than what is being alleged in this case, by the way. That's pain in a limb that you no longer have, but the circuitry in your brain still exists to represent that limb. And so
Bonjour, we are looking at how to pronounce the name of this, say, monument. One of the most visited in France. We'll be looking at how to say more French vocabulary as well. Stay tuned. So in French, for reference, it's said as Mont Mont with a silent T, Saint-Michel. Mont Saint-Michel. Silent T to
So don't say the
Saint-Michel,
T's.
yeah.
Won't say Michelle.
Mont Saint-Michel. Mont Saint-Michel. I love that guy. He has like so many videos of doing pronunciations. It's crazy.
Mont
He's
Saint-Michel.
iconic. All right. Mont Saint-Michel. Saint. Yeah, that's somebody. Matthew said it. Saint-Michel. Very cool. Thank you so much. Monsanto.
Monsanto.
All right. Stand by, everybody. Here we go.
That this thing is in the middle of the water. Did I leave that part out? Well, yeah, it's in the middle of the water. And we are supposed to just believe that they had a great shipping company, an architect, a financial guy that would make sure that they had this all covered in the year 708. Oh, and it of course lasts forever. With zero issues and not one flaw in the construction. It's perfect. Unlike anything that we have ever constructed today. How does the mainstream history make any sense at all at this point? You cannot go from this in 708 to evolving and advancing into sheds. And now we build Motel 6s. It's crazy. How can anyone ever go into a history class again without laughing? The year 708 was just a year of brilliance, I guess. Yeah, right. These buildings are from the previous civilization, and more people are realizing this every single day.
Of course, everything this guy says is wrong, basically. It does amaze me still that we have the internet, the World Wide Web. You have this fantastic tool of communication made possible by modern science, modern technology, and people use it to celebrate abject ignorance. Just astounding. This, of course, is Mont Saint-Michel. It's in the north of France. I don't know why the Swedish thing is up there. It has nothing to do with Sweden. It wasn't built in 708. I think it was the priory was founded in 708. Most of what you're seeing there, that building was built over 500 years, mainly between the 11th and the 16th century. The building of it is well documented. There are documents and even models of it in various stages of construction as it was built up and built up. Now, this is not in the middle of the water, really. It's what's called a tidal island. When the tide's low, there's actually a broad sandy beach around it, and you can walk out to it. But then when the tide comes in, it almost, then it completely isolates the island except for the roadway access that they built. Why would somebody, would France and the church and different people invest so much time and money and effort into building what's essentially a castle on this tidal island? Because it is a fantastically defensible location. When the tide comes in, imagine having an army laying siege to this place, and the tide comes in, and everyone's washed away. In fact, that many times that island, Saint-Michel, has been laid siege to and has never been successfully taken. It has never been successfully taken because it's just a fantastically defensible location. So, of course, a lot of time and resources were invested into building all of the structures there. There's no mystery here. This is all well documented. 5 minutes on Wikipedia would tell you everything you need to know. And of course, there's many other resources out there. This is a non-mystery. We do not have to hypothesize that there was some unknown, fantastical previous civilization that built this thing and just left it there for us to find. That is demonstrably not what happened. What this person is doing essentially is filling in their own abject ignorance of history, their profound intellectual incuriosity, their intellectual laziness, their unwillingness to invest 5 minutes in trying to figure out what's really going on here. And then they're replacing that with cardboard conspiracy theories, total tin hat nonsense, and just these made-up beliefs. And of course, most of the commenters on the video just are eating it up or pretending to, and just doubling down and saying, yes, of course, everything they tell you is a lie, or this person is completely full of it. But unfortunately, this is what people have chosen to fill much of the internet with. Just ignore it. This is background noise. Fortunately, actual, real, useful information is also out there if you have the slightest bit of curiosity to go find it.
All right, there we go.
This fucking guy. All right. We are good for another week.
That's right. Thank you, Chad. Save those. We're good. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for the emergency meeting.
Yeah, this one happened to be close to our Wednesday live stream. We're talking about, I know people on, Reddit have suggested this. When things like this happen, just having like an emergency live stream to talk about it. We're thinking about it. If we can make it happen, we'll see. We'll try it out maybe.
There's a lot
next
of things we're balancing with that. If we could get people...
The stars have to align to make that happen.
Unfortunately. Yeah. But we're going to plan to have something ready, turnkey to go.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It'll probably be more like our Friday live stream where I'm sitting in front of my computer.
Exactly. Yes, similar to that. This Friday, I don't know what's happening this Friday.
We're reconsidering the Friday live stream, so we can talk about that for a minute. So first of all, we started doing that during the pandemic because we were doing nothing, right? Everyone was sitting at home. That was our pandemic project. And we continued it because people seemed to like it. We added the Wednesday live stream is more of a formal thing. We're again, because I'm as I'm retired, I'm 100% working for the SGU. We're building up our studio. We're trying to do a lot more stuff. We may do that at a different time. The problem with the Friday at the end of the day is whenever we have anything on the weekend, we can't do it. So we end up canceling it more than we do it. It's just not a good time slot. And so we may do it earlier on Friday. We may do it a different day of the week. And we're just starting from scratch to think, what kind of content should we do? How should we schedule it? Send us any suggestions. What kind of stuff do you want us to do? So we're rethinking all of that. We're not pulling back. We're going to be doing more, in fact, but it just may not be when and what we've been doing up to this point.
Yeah.
Again, that was just a pandemic project that we never stopped, but we're going to turn it into something more real at this point. And again, more scheduled, not just, hey, if we all happen to be available on Friday, let's get on.
Yeah, because we've been finding ourselves more and more, we're like, oh, crap, half of us can't make it, so we have to cancel, and we can't find somebody. So, yeah, Friday, there probably will be something, but we're figuring out the time slot. But, there's more stuff coming. We're just, getting the studio ramped up even more, so... Stay tuned for that. I protest. There's no cow in vicinity to hug. I'm sorry about that. Well, don't worry. There'll be more fun stuff. All right, chat. We'll see you next Wednesday at least. Bye-bye.
So long. Thanks, Ian.
Bye-bye. Where's the end button? How do I end this thing? I don't even remember.
You have to keep staring at the camera while you're looking for the stop button.
Yeah.